Hey guys, welcome back to Money is Blind podcast. I'm your host Prasoon, and this is the show where blind and visually impaired persons can learn the foundation lessons of starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur. I've been doing it for the past 6 years, and I share my experiences in this podcast. Today, I thought why not share one of my days? How do I spend one of my Mondays? So I'll be talking about how I block time in my calendar, how much time I dedicate and allot for different tasks, how I manage social medias, emails, marketing, strategy, planning, everything. So Monday is a crucial day for me, and I thought why not share how my Mondays are scheduled. So I just opened my Google Calendar, and there are time slots in Google Calendar which are blocked, and these tasks which are blocked needs to be completed on every Monday. So my typical Monday starts at 7 a.m. That's the time when I wake up. I used to wake up at 5 a.m., but then I changed it. You might have heard that entrepreneurs need to wake up early in the morning to get their things done. I had read this book which was called The Morning Miracle, and I also read Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. And all those books inspired me to wake up at 5 a.m., but I tried it for 6 months and then I changed it. If you want to know why I did so, I explained it in yesterday's podcast. Now back to the Monday routine. I have a quick stroll in my backyard for 10 minutes, letting the sun shine into my eyes. That activates me, that stimulates my nervous system. It releases the stress hormone, cortisol, and it activates my circadian rhythm. It is scientifically proven. There is evidence-based studies which have been done that proves the benefits of getting sunshine first thing in the morning after you wake up. And I done a couple of videos on this topic in my main YouTube channel. And I got this idea from Andrew Huberman. His podcast, Huberman's Podcast, it's a wonderful show. If you are into health, fitness, and neuroscience, you should follow him. He's a great guy. After that, I have a couple of push-ups, sit-ups. So these are the kind of workouts that I have on my Mondays. Usually it lasts for 15 to 20 minutes max. I finish off it with a plank for 1.5 minutes, and that's it. I used to journal. I used to write Evernote journals, but recently I stopped it. Ever since I started this podcast, this show has become like a kind of journal for me. So I ditched it. And in the beginning, in 2018 and 2019, I used to read early in the morning. But that also, I shifted. I changed the time. After that, it is time for me to come down. My son would be getting ready for his school. If it is a holiday, usually he'll be asleep. So I'll get more time to spend on preparing scripts or researching or reading something in the news. That's what I do for the next half an hour. And by 8:15, I have my breakfast. It usually takes 15 minutes. I have my breakfast with my wife, and by 8:35 or 8:40, I have my first cup of coffee. It's usually with milk. Sometimes I have black coffee, and I usually delay it 1.5 hours after waking up. I don't drink my coffee immediately after waking up because there is scientific evidence which shows that delaying your coffee by 90 minutes, at least 90 minutes after waking up, that can help prevent the energy crashes that we feel often in the afternoon after lunch, feeling sleepy in the afternoon. That can be due to the effect of caffeine, which is found in coffee. After that, I get ready to go to office. My personal assistant, He usually comes on Mondays by 9:30 a.m. and by 9 from 9 to 9:30 I usually listen to Alexa for news, usually technology news, Wall Street Journal, BBC, NDTV, everything I listen to. Even the local news, I prefer Asianet News. So by the time that's finished, my personal assistant will be here. If I have to shoot a shorts video, I usually do it on Monday, Wednesdays, or Fridays. So if I had prepared the script on Sundays, I would take it then itself. It usually takes me 5 to 10 minutes to shoot a short video. Otherwise, I'll be off to office with my personal assistant. We reach the office by 9:15. Sorry, by 9:45. It's a 15 minutes drive from my house. So at the office, I have classes for my students, usually 1 hour a day. Sometimes I'll have to engage for another hour, usually assignments and discussions that goes along. The current timetable on Mondays I have my hour at 12 to 1:15, and before that I have my reports on Dofody, the number of consultations that we had the last day, the number of users that we acquired, Android users, iPhone users, pending payments, pending consultations, ongoing consultations. I have this report first thing in the morning. It usually takes 15 to 20 minutes to get these things sorted. I have blocked 10 to 11 a.m. for Dofody. If there are classes, this time usually gets changed because I have buffer time marked in my calendar which I can exchange with classes and other meetings that I have at the office. After that, it's usually a bit of marketing time from 11 to 12 a.m. That's when I go to YouTube, read some commands, research on video topics, get some video ideas from my viewers. It's mostly Dofody marketing for Dofody online doctor consultation that I do for the next 1 hour. I create plans, strategies, and then I try to execute whatever I can do in the next 1 hour. 12 to 1:15 p.m. It's usually classes for my students. At 1:15 I have my lunch. It usually takes another 15 minutes. After the lunch, that's when I check my WhatsApp messages, reply to the WhatsApp messages, and then go through emails. It usually takes half an hour. Sometimes there might be emails, urgent emails that I need to reply to, some sponsorship deals, collaborations, reports that I need to send to my accountant. All those sorts of emails and communications work that's get done first thing after lunch. So after finishing that, I have 30 minutes for editing Money is Blind podcast. That's when my personal assistant goes through the clips and edits it. I listen to the clip after editing and we publish the episode. And by 3, everything is done. All these podcast episodes that you listen to in your podcast platform, they are scheduled on the same day that you're listening to, 5 days a week. It goes out without fail. At 7 p.m. Indian time, every new episode gets published. 3 to 4 p.m., I have meeting time. If I have meetings that I need to have with my managers, my collaborators, my promotions, anything, any type of meeting that I have, usually I have 30 minutes meeting, so I can accommodate 2 meetings into this time slot, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's the usual time, Mondays 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So I have marked it on my Calendly as well. It as the time that I am available for meetings. 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. is my buffer time. So if anything is left, any task incomplete, I can take this time to finish it off. So I leave my office at 5 p.m. and we get back home by 5:15. For the next 45 minutes, it's my tea time. I have a chat with my wife, my son. We just hang around in the garden, enjoy the sunset. Sometimes I use this time to play with my son, But not these days. It's raining heavily, and orange alert has been declared in my city. So we miss the evening playtime. Otherwise, we used to have this playtime 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes. I somehow managed to get my aerobic exercises during that time. We have running races. So it's a small backyard that we have, and I know the area well so that I can run without bumping into anything, bumping into posts and walls. And my son helps. We have all the running gadgets and shoes and all the running gears. When it's time for running, me and my son, we are ready. So it's not on every days, but usually it does happen. Otherwise, we are indoors, like what we have been doing for the last couple of weeks because of rain. So from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., it's my consultation time. I block this time for all the consultations, online doctor consultations that I make through Dofody app. Everything, if it's video call, audio calls, I do it in this time. So usually every call is like 15 minutes, but sometimes my patients they have questions and the time usually gets extended. Sometimes the call takes 30 minutes, sometimes the call gets finished in 20 minutes. Mostly it takes more than 15 minutes for each call. Sometimes I have 5 or 10 consultations. Some days I have just 2 consultations. It differs. It depends on the number of consultations that I get every day. The time till 8 p.m. And before I go for the consultations, whenever I get time in between the consultations, usually have my dinner before 7 p.m. So that's one habit that I've been trying to implement in my life, in my house for the last 5 years, and I succeeded in it. And we have been doing it for the last 2 years now. Dinner before 7 p.m. So this is also important because it helps maintain the circadian rhythm. It helps maintain all the hormones. It makes us ready to get some good sleep and lose the weight, maintain the insulin, stress hormone, cortisol, melatonin, all the hormones that you can think of. If you can have an early dinner before sunset, that will be the best thing that you can do to your body. After 8 p.m., it's usually my leisure time. I scroll through the social medias. It usually takes half an hour. Sometimes it takes 1 hour, up to 1 hour. I make all the calls to my friends and family members during this time. 8 to 9 p.m. I again go through the social medias and emails once again during this time blocked, specifically for social media and getting that dopamine surge from my social life. After that, it's 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's my workout time. So again, I do some cardio workouts like jogging on the plate or burpees or jumping jacks. It depends. It differs from days to days. Not every Monday it's the same exercise because I get bored very easily. Sometimes I run on the treadmill. Sometimes I'll be lifting weights. Of course, I lift weights, and I have a 50 kg weight set which I use for deadlifts and also use as my dumbbells. So it differs. In the 1 hour, whatever exercise that I feel like doing, I just finish it off. 3 or 4 sets, sometimes it's 2 sets. And usually I take a rest for 2 or 3 minutes in between. Sometimes it may go for 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the type of exercise that I do. Usually have music on my Alexa. I have playlists, couple of them in Spotify, and with my Amazon Prime, I'm getting Amazon Music, so I have a workout playlist in Amazon Music as well. So after 10, it's time to wind up. So I have my bath, usually in warm water, and by the time my brushing, my skincare, and all the routines are done, it's usually 10:30 or 10:45 p.m. That's when I start podcasting. So this is the stage where I am right now, recording the podcast for the next day. This podcast that I'm recording right now, it will be published the very next day. So it usually takes 15 to 20 minutes for recording the podcast. After that, if I have some other works like recording chapters for online courses, I do it. Sometimes I take this time to write down stuff, to empty my brain and put all the thoughts into digital format. Sometimes it will be like notes, sometimes it will be a script. Tomorrow it is Thursday, and so I have to publish a video on YouTube. So I have to prepare a script for YouTube, and I'll need to create a script. So I'll have to do some research on the topics before I create the script. So I'll be doing that after recording the podcast, usually on all weekdays. Yeah, I do it on all weekdays, and that's the same on Mondays as well. So by 11:30, 11:45 p.m., it's time for me to wind up. I go to bed. I have my smartphone with me. It'll be in airplane mode. I just don't go through social medias at that time, but I use Audible app. I use Audible for self-development, learning, getting new skills, and exploring the entrepreneurial journey. And usually it's 15 to 20 minutes before I feel sleepy. That time I press on the pause button and go to sleep. That's it. That's how my Mondays goes on. So one thing which I've been doing consistently for the past couple of years is sticking to the schedule, completing the tasks. Every time I complete a small task, it motivates me to keep going because I know these tasks are very important. If not today, in the future, these tasks, these small tasks that I complete every day, these tasks are going to determine my future. So I'm proud of my consistency, my discipline, how I complete the task, how I prioritize it. I've been able to develop a schedule because of all the skills that I picked up, all the skills that I learned when I started my first online business. And I believe you can do the same, and that's why I started sharing my experiences through Money is Blind podcast. If you are liking what you are listening to right now, consider subscribing to the show. Share it with your blind and visually impaired friends. So that's it, guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.